Hello and welcome to Auto Shenanigans. How the devil are you? Have you had a good week? My name is John. Thank you very much for joining me for another exciting Great British Road Journey. This week I'm still in Staffordshire. In the last episode we discovered that actually the county has been fairly productive over the years, mainly making beer, which I'm sure we can all agree is quite important. Hopefully this week it's more of the same as we take a journey from Stafford to Tamworth. And as always, to help navigate our way around, we'll be using my 1923 Michelin guidebook, period correct maps, and we're going to start with something that's featured on the channel before. Stafford Castle, as recommended by my guidebook and seen previously in a video all about motorways. Stafford Castle has existed in one way, shape or form since the 1100s, but it's been rebuilt so many times it's not really worth talking about. What we see today was constructed in the early 1800s before being abandoned until the 1960s, when the local council did a bit of restoration work so that it could later be opened as a visitor centre. As for the town of Stafford, in the days of my guidebook, it was a fairly busy place with around 28,000 residents, which today has grown to over 70,000. And as the name suggests, Stafford is the county town of Staffordshire. The town has mostly been built around the shoemaking industry, with manufacturing starting way back in the late 1400s before coming to an end in 2001 with the closure of the last shoemakers in the town. Another gone but not forgotten industry is railway locomotive manufacturing. W.G. Bagnall was founded in 1875 and they worked out of a large engineering works known as the Castletown Works. To begin with, they manufactured smaller locomotives for use on narrow gauge railways within industrial settings, but it wouldn't be long before they moved on to the full-size stuff. But today, it's all gone, of course, and is now a housing estate. Standard. As we make our way to our next destination via the A34, we're going to turn off and head into Cannock Chase, an area of outstanding natural beauty that is located on a bed of Triassic sandstone, has seen several military uses and features a Cold War era communication tower. And here's a rock. Known as the Cannock Chase glacial boulder, it's a rock. I don't know what to tell you. The story goes that it was discovered in the 1950s and placed on top of a hill in nearby Milford for all to see, only to then be pushed off the hill by local youths. So it was relocated to the top of another hill, but this time cemented in position. That'll show the blackguards. Except it didn't. Somebody dug the stone out of its cement base and rolled it down the hill again. Lols. So it was relocated here next to a car park and once again cemented in position, although this time not on top of a hill. Is it a glacial boulder? I don't even know what that is. Our next stop brings us to the town of Cannock. We're getting dangerously close to Birmingham, but don't worry, we won't be going there. According to my guidebook, there's nothing of interest to see or do, but in those days it was a busy place with around 32,000 residents. So what was everybody doing all day long? Coal mining. Lots and lots of coal mining. Until the mid-1800s, Cannock was a small rural community, but this all changed once the demand for coal significantly increased following the start of the Industrial Revolution. Given Cannock's location, it was well suited for serving the nearby industrial powerhouse that was Birmingham, and accordingly several collieries were set up in the town and it expanded quickly. The last of these collieries to close would do so in 1967, marking the end of the coal industry, and since then, I don't know, daytime TV, I guess. Or watching pointless YouTube videos, maybe. Moving on, and we're heading to Lichfield next. To get there, we'll be using the A5190, which, according to our old maps, has been upgraded. How exciting. It used to be the B5012, but now look at it, a fancy A road, which is the same as it was before. Until you reach a place called Pipe Hill, where the road has been realigned and a roundabout added to replace what was previously a crossroad junction. These changes have left behind an abandoned stretch of road that's now been converted into a footpath, but it clearly used to be a road. Using other roads, we've arrived in Lichfield, a town that isn't really noteworthy of anything, but my guidebook does make a couple of suggestions on things to take a look at. Starting with Lichfield Cathedral. It took over 50 years to construct, but to be fair, it was the 1200s, and it's the only three-spire medieval church in the whole of Europe, the tallest of which stands at 253 foot high. It's made out of Mercian red sandstone, giving the cathedral a unique shade of whatever colour that is, and an error was made in its design. The stone is so heavy that parts of the cathedral began to lean under its weight, and this problem wasn't rectified until the late 1700s, when hundreds of tons of material was removed to stop it all from collapsing. My guidebook's second suggestion is that we take a look at the Samuel Johnson statue, a fairly uninteresting statue that was built in 1838 to commemorate this bloke called Sam who was born in Lichfield. But why do we care? Well, if you've heard of these things called books, you've probably stumbled across Sam's most famous work, published in 1755, known as A Dictionary of the English Language. It took Sam 7 years to write, and at the time and thereafter it was the definitive English dictionary. The Oxford English Dictionary wouldn't come until 170 years later, but perhaps the most remarkable thing is that Sam did all of the work himself. No wonder it took 7 years to write. Just Google it, mate. On to our final destination, the beautiful town of Tamworth. To get there, we'll be heading down the A38 for a bit before turning onto the old A5, aka Watling Street. This is a well-known Roman road, and it's mostly completely straight, except for this bit. Thanks, HS2. Anyway, we will follow the road along, and it will take us straight into Tamworth. In the days of my guidebook, Tamworth was a nothing town with around 8,000 residents. Today there are over 70,000 people living here, and that growth in population came from the construction of several housing estates. Tamworth isn't quite a new town, but the same sort of idea was applied where mass housing was provided, resulting in a very quick increase in population. The town's most famous company surely has to be the Reliant Motor Company, who made the Reliant Robin, those silly little three-wheeled cars. The company was set up in Tamworth in 1935 and amazingly stayed in business until 2001. Today there's nothing left of the original factories, but there is a housing estate on which you'll find Robin Close. My guidebook suggests that we visit a castle or a church, but meh. If you're coming this way, why not visit the town's second most famous company or person found in the town centre, Spudman. He's a man and he makes spuds. Spuds is another term we use for potato. And there we are then, guys. That's all we've got time for this week. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, there's of course a button specifically for that. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. That'll be wicked sweet awesome. Enjoy the rest of your week, whatever it is you get up to. My name's John. You've been watching Auto Shenanigans, and I'll see you guys next time for another exciting Great British Road Journey. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.